The last two pieces of equipment on the list are optional. I say optional because it depends on your process and what you plan to be doing, and also how much money that you have to invest in your space. The first one we're going to talk about is microphones. Microphones, if you're doing everything inside the computer, if you're not going to actually record anything acoustic coming from outside, you don't even need a microphone. Microphones are really only if you have acoustic instruments or vocals that you're doing, in which case you absolutely need a microphone. There's lots of options for microphones, from the cheap ones to the very, very expensive ones to the astronomically expensive vintage ones. What we're just going to go over is the cheapest options and then kind of the mid-range. The first microphone we're going to talk about is the Audio-Technica 2020. It is a very cheap microphone. It's about $99. And that is a great mic if you just need to get some vocals down and you don't have a lot of cash to spend. Billie Eilish famously recorded with the AT2020. She did her vocals for Ocean Eyes with that microphone. Second up is a microphone called the Rode, R-O-D-E, Rode NT1. That is traditionally a microphone for more video work and voiceovers. It's also a great microphone for vocals. It gets really high quality results. I believe the price point for that is about $200. It's a great mic. It'll get the job done for what you need. The next microphone I can recommend is the Shure SM7B. The original version is called the SM7. This is a legendary, they call it the legendary vocal microphone. It's a really, really nice microphone for the price. It's about $400. You can get it used on eBay for maybe $200. It's a dynamic microphone. I'll go into that more later about what the difference between dynamic and condenser microphones are. But for our purposes right now, all you need to know is that it's a great mic for vocals. You can use it for other things as well, but that's a great vocal mic. Next up is the EV RE20. The EV RE20, Electro Voice RE20, is a broadcast microphone from a long, long time ago. It is a classic microphone and has a great sound. It's also a dynamic microphone. Again, I'll explain what dynamic means later. If you've seen anybody podcasting, you've either seen the SM7 or the RE20. They're the most common microphones for voiceovers, and they're great for vocals as well. The next microphone on the list is the AKG 414. This is the microphone that I use. That's that microphone right there. That's actually the XL2 that has a little bit of an extra top end for that's good for vocals. The XLS is another version of the AKG 414, which is more of a flatter, higher end. It's really just a high quality microphone. I think they're around $700 to $800. I think I got mine for about $600 on eBay. I love the thing. It sounds amazing. I've put it in front of so many vocalists and it sounds great. Next is the Neumann U87. The Neumann U87 I've heard described of as an ear. It's pretty much the most pristine vocal mic you're gonna get for under $2,000. It is industry standard. It's a classic mic. A lot of times you can get them used. The older ones are actually better, apparently, in this case, the 1980s or 1970s versions, but they come along with all the problem you have with vintage gear is that sometimes they have to be repaired. Parts need to be replaced. That could be hard to get refurbished. You're better off buying something new, even though the sound quality may be better on those older mics. Just for our purposes for this course, you're probably not going to be buying a U87. If you get really into recording and you want to up your game, that's a great mic to invest in. Something I forgot to mention is the SM57 from Shure microphones. My first microphone ever that I bought was a Shure SM57. They're great for miking up instruments in general, drums specifically, and you can do vocals on them. It's not the best for recording. It's about a $50 microphone. So it's like the lowest entry point is what I can afford in the 90s. The next version up from the SM57 is the SM58. You can get one for about $100. You've seen SM58s on stage if you've ever gone to a concert. Essentially, they're the most used vocal microphone for live that exists. You can probably get away with using it for a recording. I wouldn't recommend it, especially since you have other options like the AT2020 and NT1. You're going to get better results out of those microphones. So that's it for microphones. Do your own research, of course. Don't take my word for it. There's a lot of different mics out there. There could be something even cheaper than the things I mentioned that sounds great. The technology is always changing. Again, microphones are not as important as the rest of the gear I mentioned, the computer, the headphones, the MIDI controller, and the interface. Those things are the primary things you want to get as far as hardware is concerned. If you're not doing vocals, if you're just doing instrumental music that's completely inside the computer, you do not need a microphone. Don't spend money on a microphone. You don't need a bunch of gear that you're not going to use.